Ladies and gentlemen, members of Cover Killer Nation, it is time to reveal the 2010 Album of the Year list. Now, this is something that I'm hoping to do in 2 videos, 3 at the very, very maximum. And why? It's because I want to be able to show you guys not just 20 as I did last year, but instead the top 25 albums by Cover Killer Nation of the year 2010. And I will say this, 25 through 21 are more like honorable mentions, so I probably will not spend all that much time on this. So I'm hoping that video number 1 will be from 25 to number 11, and then 10 through 1 will be on video 2. We'll see how it goes. But let's start it off. Number 25, the 25th album, 25th best album of 2010 is Scenes from Hell from Psy. This is a really, really solid release. This is a band that I really learned about a number of years ago thanks to a compilation all the way back whenever Imaginary Sonescapes was released. Scenes from Hell is a very solid release. Definitely not quite on par with Imaginary Sonescapes in my opinion. However, it still is very, very solid. But as you can tell, there's a lot of albums to get to. Number 24, Heathen, The Evolution of Chaos. Heathen is one of those all-time great second-wave thrash metal bands, and this is their long-awaited return after many, many years of dormancy. This is a band that released 2 huge albums in the late 1980s, early 1990s, one of which sold over 250,000 copies. Yeah, 250 million copies, jeez. Moving right along, number 23 is the Dillinger Escape Plan, Option Paralysis. Was not a big fan of these guys until I heard this record. I liked them a little bit before. I saw them live at Gigantor 2005. As I mentioned in the video, which you can no longer see, goddamn suspensions. However, this is a really solid release. It was something that definitely surprised me a lot. You're going to see me reaching for a lot of stuff, guys. Number 22, In Vain Mantra. Now, this is something that I would have completely passed up had it not been for one of you guys out there recommending it to me. Ever since doing that, I've listened to this album a number of times. Really, really enjoyed this release a lot. Number 21 is Alceste et Cal de Lune. Now, of course, I love this band. This is a band that I've really enjoyed ever since their previous release, Souvenirs de l'Aventremonde, was released, but Cal de Lune definitely took it to another level. Definitely a very solid full length. I still like the first one just a little more, but that's just a matter of taste, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's start the top 20. Number 20, Borknagar's Universal. This was an album that definitely came out of nowhere a little bit for me. I always have had a soft spot for this project. I've always really enjoyed it. I have Empiricism, you know. I really like the little folky, more acoustic album that they did a couple of years back. You know, this is a really, really good band, but Universal is one of those albums that really jutted out at the beginning of the year. And I really thought it was going to play a little bit more of a role in shaping up the top 10. But, well, as you're going to see, there's just so many good albums that were released this year that this is kind of how everything tumbled out. This is a really, really strong effort, however, by this particular band. Not to mention the added bonus of ICS Vortex in the mix. Mecca brownie points with me, along with the addition of Wintersorg for 1 song. Number 19, Dark Tranquillities, We Are the Void. Now, this was an album that, whenever I first reviewed it, I said it was pretty much average and a little cliche. However, this album is what they call in the business a grower. This is one of those albums that will grow on you like a cancer because you know that they're going for something a little bit different. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's a very good thing. This is something that Dark Tranquillity really has, they've done in their career. However, in recent memory, they've released a lot of very classic records that We Are the Void really not shaping up, I think, really jaded a lot of opinions. And mine definitely is no exception. However, after listening to this record a couple more times, I like it. Number 18, Grand Magus, Hammer of the North. This was an album that I was not even aware of until I checked out a website, and it was ranked very highly on this website, so I figured, hey, I might as well check it out. This definitely has a lot of folky elements to it, and I like it a lot because it really is able to blend together folky elements with a little bit more of a traditional metal angle to it. Something that is done a good bit anymore. However, it's not really done at a very consistent level by a lot of bands. Grand Magus actually surprised me a lot with the way in which they were able to blend these two important facets together and create a pretty fantastic release, if I do say so myself. Number 17 may come as a surprise. Blind Guardians at the Edge of Time. You might be thinking, wow, it's kind of low, isn't it? Well, for as good of a release this is, there's 16 that are better. This is a great release by Blind Guardian, however. It's not quite some of the albums that we've seen in the past. However, it is also no slouch. This probably would have to be maybe the second or third best in their catalog, all depending on who you are, what you like, and if you really, really like it whenever they go headlong into Tolkien's work. I like this band a lot, basically because they use a lot of writing, and a lot of film, a lot of folklore, a lot of legend in their lyrics. This is something that is no secret. However, it's something that, if you are a very literate individual, and if you like to draw inspiration upon literacy, this is a band for you. Number 16, High on Fire, Snakes for the Divine. This is kind of where you see me make a leap. This year I definitely made a leap even further and deeper into this kind of sludgy kind of stoner metal, stoner rock scene, and it's just because the music's damn good. It's not so much that it's catchy, it's not so much that, you know, it's going to make you tap your toes or bang your head. It's just really, really good, solid material. It's well written and well executed, and that's the reason why it's number 16 on this list. Number 15, Fear Factory, Mechanize. Fear Factory returns with their album Mechanized this year in 2010, and let me tell you something, this was a return that was heralded by the masses and also a return that was well delivered by the band. This is an excellent release. It's definitely one that helps fans forget about some of the perhaps less suitable albums that came right before they went on hiatus for a little while. Is it something where it's going to make people forget it? Probably not. However, it's going to be a nice ushering into a new era, the next era of Fear Factory. Not to mention, you never know what might happen. The next album might be better than this. Moving right along, we go to number 14, Blaze Bayley, Promise and Terror. Now, a lot of people probably don't really care too much about Blaze Bayley, especially his Iron Maiden work. However, as a solo performer, this guy is second to none. He's a fantastic solo performer. Very, very astute in the mind and in the music that is classic heavy metal. And this album is definitely no exception, except he is able to blend a little bit more progressive into this particular release, make it kind of a night and day type of feel, and the result is a very, very strong release. Highly recommend this to all of you who are like Blaze Bayley. How has he done it's any good? A lot. Number 13, Barren Earth, Curse of the Red River. This is what happens whenever Amorphous is morphed, so to speak, into a newer act that they're very, very difficult to explain, but very, very fun to listen to. Definitely a little bit more progressive side to the Amorphous side, with a lot more of the deathy growling vocals. Something that you're used to hearing, maybe Tales of the Thousand Lakes era, so to speak. Really, really good record, not to mention a debut. We could have ourselves our newcomer of the year, folks. Number 12, Eson's After. One of the very first records that I reviewed this year, and this album definitely did not disappoint. Eson has had 2 successful solo albums already, and the third one is probably, if not his best. I really enjoyed what he did with Angle. It's really, really good traveling music, not to mention, now that it's wintertime, Angle is very, very fitting. However, After definitely has the same feel to it, but also builds upon something that he did a little bit more on his first solo record, and that was add a lot of layering to it, a lot of epic feel. And that's something that was a little bit sorely missed from Angle. However, it was an album that really didn't need it. However, with this particular release, with After, it is necessary, and it makes this album truly a classic. Number 11, we get into some black metal. Black metal had a great year, folks. Dark Fortresses, Elam. This was a band that I kind of just picked up on a whim. I read a review about this particular record, and it was what they would say semi-favorable. I wanted to check it out for myself, and I discovered a band that would be played a number of times throughout this particular year. This is excellent black metal. The song Even Fall sticks into your head. It's almost like an anthem for the year 2010 for me. Wraith is a fantastic kind of departure from what you would consider to be traditional black metal, a little bit more on the progressive side. However, it still has that very, very dark, that very sinister beat to it, that very crimson glow. It's a sinister track, but the vocals are very, very beautiful, very harmonic, not to mention very, very strong. The rest of the album is no slouch either. Those two are just two highlights.